cancer.
Right.
In the medical community, and I say this from the heart, sincere, there's a lot of training that needs to be done by people like me, who has lived it.
Mm-hmm.
I've had discussions with many doctors and neurologists, and the response is that they didn't teach us to deal with these issues
Right, right,
in college.
right,
Well, you know, you've been at the game long enough, teach yourself.
right, right.
And it's difficult for some people. If ever you are diagnosed, not just with prostate cancer, but with any cancer, ask for a second opinion.
Right.
And let me prepare you for that. It may be different to the first opinion. So don't be alarmed. The alarm bell is when they say you got cancer, irrespective of what cancer it is, but I'm speaking of specific prostate cancer.
Right.
Don't be alarmed.
Right.
One of the questions you need to ask the doctor, is there a support group I can attend? There are some doctors who would not want you to go to support group, and they tell me to my face, I do not have the time to answer the 200 questions
Right.
that people walk in here with after they've been to the support group. Please say thank you to that doctor and walk off, find somebody else. If he or she has that attitude, they are not the people to treat you. I have men in their 60s. I didn't know that my father died of prostate cancer until 5 or 10 years later. My sister or my mother told me. These guys should have been screened
right.
at 40.
Right, right.
And here they are at 60 and don't know. So your family history is very important.
Right.
If you do not have that to fall back on, go early. For years I've been an opponent to just the PSA test. I say you need both. But what's going on today, so many men are refusing to have the glove finger. I said, fine, go take the PSA. Half a loaf in this case is better than no bread
Right.
at all.
And nothing. Right.
I argued against one without
Right,
the other.
right.
Now I'm coming to accept. Go take the PSA. It's
Take
a
the
simple blood test as
Right.
any other blood test.
Right.
Take that based on your numbers. Then it's in your hands to make the decision whether you want to go for it or not. By taking the PSA, we have a baseline.
Right.
So if you have that done in 210 and you don't go back till 213, you know, did it move?
Did it-
How much did it move?
Right.
Do I need to look forward to something else? So education, education, education. When I started out in 97 to speak on prostate cancer, the medical community made a statement, it's a man's only disease because a woman doesn't have a prostate. There's nothing farther from the truth. It's a family disease.
It's a family disease, yeah. Affects
Many of us men refuse to share with our wives what's going on in our follow-up to treatment. In other words, you may have surgery, you may have seeds, you may have cryo or whatever. And there are many more treatments coming on today. If you have that, your wife knows that you've had it, you've been treated. You go back every 6 months, your PSA is rising, you go home and you do not share this with your wife. I've had a number of women shared with me. We were sitting at home doing whatever, playing cards, watching TV, having dinner. He collapsed. I thought it was a heart attack or a stroke.
Right.
Took him to the emergency room, and after several hours, somebody comes out and says, he will not be leaving. That's where we are today as men, black men. My focus today is not to give you the numbers. The medical community will give you those numbers. My focus is to encourage you to change your mindset. Let me give you a scenario. Your neighbor, you get your diagnosis and you go home and you're looking a little grumpy. You either share it with your neighbor or he asks you what's wrong. You tell him. You go home, you tell your wife, but you don't tell your children. Your children goes to the same school as your neighbor's child. When your neighbor's wife and children get home, they're sitting down to dinner and they say, well, Bill next door has been diagnosed with prostate cancer. tomorrow the neighbor's child is going to go to school and tell your child that you're going to die because you got cancer. Our children got enough stresses. Then we need to put more stresses on them.
Right.
But here what happened. You go home, you sit your family down, and you tell them, our children are far more resilient than we give them credit for. You said to your 10-year-old son or daughter, I went to the doctor today and I was diagnosed with cancer. I think the first question they're going to ask you is, are you going to die?
Right, right.
Have a resounding no, I'm
Right.
not going to.
Right,
The
right.
doctors are going to take care of me.
Right, right.
And you look your child in the eye and say, you know what, you and I are going to fight this together.
Right, right.
Think of what you just did.
Right.
You get up in the morning, did you take your medication? When do you go back to the doctor?
Right, right.
They become an interrogator.
Exactly.
But also you're preparing them for life ahead.
Right.
Your son will know that you sat at the table and dealt with it. Your daughter may marry a young man who's afraid of white coats, and she's going to make the appointment. And whatever it takes, she's going to get you there. You know
Right.
why? At age 10, her father trusted her, sat them down and talked to them. And this is something I'm on a crusade, encouraging black folks in particular to share this information. You look at our brochure or our card, and thanks to Mr. Ali over there who does all our artwork, you'll see it says it's a family affair.
Right.
We have to wise up. We have to do things differently. I know it's not going to be easy. I mean, I have men say it's none of their business,
Right.
but hear what? These were the very men when their wife was diagnosed with breast cancer. The doctor calls their wife name to come into the room, and they get up and took lead. Today, their wives drive them to the doctor's appointment, but they cannot go in the room to hear the statement. That is bad, it is dumb, it is stupid. One of the questions, or two questions I get asked when I'm doing presentation from time to time is, well, to get treatment, diagnosed and treated, what does it do to your sex life? My immediate response is, dead men doesn't have sex.
Right.
If you're dead, you can't have sex. Then nobody's gonna lay a gloved finger on me. Well, if you're so afraid of it, that it's gonna make you gay. You were gay before you went in there. So, you know, get off the pot. Get off the pot. Get something done.
Right.
And like I said, you know, you don't have to have it done every year.
Right.
But at least get a baseline.
Get a baseline, yeah.
So that if you go back 2 or 3 years hence, they will know,
Where you
well,
were.
it's moved up a little, not enough to be concerned. Oh, hello, you got a problem here.
Right.
And that's my request to our men. I am not medically trained in any way. I speak from the heart. And many times I'm invited to speak. And with a group like this, I say, well, in order to take some of the fear out of what I'm saying, consider me a guest in your home. You've invited me to dinner or whatever. We're not going to talk sports. We're going to have a discussion on prostate cancer. Not that I'm talking to you. We're having a discussion. And I do it that way to relieve some of the fear and anxiety that this disease carries. One of the things that I do over the last